But coyotes,
They're not wolves.
They're not wolves.
No.
Thank you.
They're wild.
But they're super skittish.
Very skittish.
Like coyotes don't want to be around you at all. They're going to take
kind of
off.
like raccoons if you think about it. Like they're just meh.
Well, here's some tips for keeping them out of your yard, because they sort of are like raccoons, aka trash pandas. So here we go. This is from Texas Parks and Wildlife. Don't feed your coyotes, obviously.
Wow, I hadn't thought of that.
But this is a secondary issue. You might be feeding them, you don't know it, if you have a compost pile that's not locked up.
Great point.
So keep your compost locked up. Don't feed feral cats, because by feeding feral cats, you're feeding the coyotes who love your fat feral cats that you think are so cute in your backyard. You're just fattening them for the slaughter when the coyote comes to town. Well, howdy, y'all. Y'all are listening to the Daytripper Podcast. It's February, and we are talking Texas like we do every month on the first of the month. I'm Chet, Garner, host of this shindig. Joining me on the couch is Daniel Mecey, my co-host.
Howdy,
and
y'all.
We got Alex rocking the turntables over there, switching things up. And you're listening wherever you are, so thank you for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, of course it's there. If you only find us on YouTube, we are on all the podcast platforms, so just pick your poison, listen to it there. And if you're listening on audio only, there's a video version of this that you can watch on YouTube.
Unless you're driving.
It's probably
if you're driving when you hear this, don't watch.
Do not watch video while you're driving. But I'm trying to think if the video version's better than the audio version. Probably not. I mean,
if nobody watches the video, we could just basically come in here and whatever we want to wear. And oh wait, we already do that. Never mind.
Is a good point. All right. So just a reminder before we get into this, subscribe, wherever it is. Leave us a review, please. All that stuff helps. The podcast has been growing because you guys are tuning in and listening. So thank you very much, wherever you listen from, for pulling us into your eardrums. All right. So we do have a sponsor for this one right off the bat. So the LCRA, Lower Colorado River Authority. You're nice that I didn't quiz you on what that was. You would have gotten it.
Oh, 100%.
LCRA. All right. So the LCRA operates 40 parks, 11,000 acres that follow the Colorado River corridor, going all the way from San Saba down to the coast. There's some absolutely phenomenal parks. The Matagorda County one, the Matagorda Beach one, which hits the Gulf of Mexico. That's where the Colorado River flows in the Gulf of Mexico. That's an awesome park. San Saba's great because it's sort of at the near the headwaters of all this, up near the top. And then, of course, you've got the ones through Austin. They follow Lake Travis, a lot of those, McKinney Roughs. And what we want to talk about specifically, I know it's only February, but summer's coming just around the corner, and LCRA has registration open for all of their summer camps. So these are a big deal. They're offered at 3 parks: the Matagorda Bay Nature Park, which is down by the coast; McKinney Roughs, which is between Austin and Bastrop; and then the Nightingale Archaeological Center. I didn't even know that was a park on Lake LBJ.
Oh, cool.
So each of these run from basically mid-June to early August. They're Monday through Friday. They're day camps, but each week focuses on something different. So, if you want to send your kids to 2 of the weeks, it's not just going to be repeat material. So archery, fishing. I want to do this one. Survival skills.
Ooh, Bear Grylls.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome. Zip lining, field trips, UTV, science exploration, all kinds of stuff. Wakeboarding, tubing, and they run basically through June to August. Check the dates. Y'all go online. Registration's open. Weekly camps start at $225, which I think is very reasonable. And you guys, a lot of y'all parents work through the summer, so they have to find things for their kids to do. Sending them outdoors to do something cool, way better than just, turning on YouTube and letting them figure it out. Like, this is the kind of stuff that makes memories that last a lifetime.
Oh, absolutely.
And whether or not they're into arrowhead points at this point, just give them that experience and plant those seeds of curiosity. They're going to pay huge dividends over time.
Definitely.
Did you go to camp as a kid?
I went to a lot of camps. I did some of the ones that stand out the most, though. I did this one space camp. I was such a nerd.
Space camp.
But we actually went to NASA.
Oh, that's
at
rad.
the end of it.
Oh, that's
so it's
cool.
At the time I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this, and then I go there, and now I'm nearing 40 years old, and I still have the memories from it.
Space camp.
So
yes.
it's like, yeah, and so, yeah, like you said, you may not think arrowheads could be that impressive, but then you get out there and you're like, I had no idea.
Yeah,
There's so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't believe we're already talking about summer, though.
I know that it's a bit depressing, but like, I mean, with our 5 kids and all the things that they're going to have to do this summer, if we want to plan our family vacation, we got to figure out where it slots in and what we're doing on this week with the kids, whatever. So unfortunately, it's time to start planning.
It is time.
Y'all can learn more at LCRA.org. Technically, it's LCRA.org/park/summer-camps. But if you just go to their homepage, I'm sure you can find ways to track into the registration process and get on it. Also, for you foodies out there, save the date. April 1st is a Savor the Outdoors event at Pedernales River Nature Park, which is by Johnson City. It's an outdoor culinary experience. More details coming soon on that. So save the date, April 1st. All right, let's get into it. February, month of love. This is the month that we're supposed to treat our wives like royalty.
Hey, wait.
But in our house,
treat us too.
No. Let's be honest. Is Valentine's Day for dudes? No.
It's a
the sooner
holiday.
It is a message to all the guys out there. The sooner you can realize that Valentine's Day has nothing to do with you, the happier your life will be.
Yeah, it is what it is.
This one's for the ladies, but it's our job to sort of, we bump up the romance. I don't know. Flowers don't work on my wife anymore. They used to, really. Wow. Well, roses don't. Can't say that about all flowers. Like if I get her some random, whatever colorful thing during the summer, she'll be appreciative. But like the rose thing, it's kind of like, Chet, you used that card in high school. Get over it.
Oh, man. See, you should have been like me. Like the first 16 years of marriage, I was like, no, I'm not going to do flowers on Valentine's Day. Okay. Now I've got at least another 16 years of being able to do flowers. And it's like, whoa, flowers.
Dang.
Yeah.
I just started too early. No, so you got to think of cool things to do. Here's the thing. Like, take the month of February. Another bit of advice: do something in the month of February that'll kind of work for Valentine's Day. Because trying to do something on actual Valentine's Day is a mess.
Yes.
So we stopped going out to eat on actual Valentine's Day a long time ago,
Us too.
and we're better for it. So we had a tradition, and we're trying to get back onto it, where we would go to the grocery store and spend way more money on nice items than we normally would, and sort of cook our own sweetheart's dinner at home.
Yeah.
Because restaurants, man, more expensive, hard to get in, limited menu, because they're hustling people through that like cattle.
Oh, yeah.
So, man, just avoid it.
Not to mention, this is going to be one of the first Valentine's Days that we've had with potentially low staff issues at a lot of these restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
Last year probably a little too, but you got to be patient with restaurants still. Like a lot of them are still having some of those issues.
Totally.
Just through COVID and all that stuff.
We're still post-COVID for sure.
But you know what? Like, I think a lot of people need to get on this bandwagon that I'm on right now.
Okay.
Being in an RV, like, we got to be careful about not just buying junk. Just the consumerism.
True.
Like, we don't have
room.
room.
Yeah. You're not going to get if you don't get your wife a 6-foot-tall teddy bear for Valentine's Day,
right?
You're a terrible husband.
So here's what I'm saying.
Another thing I would have done in high school. Anyway.
So we have this thing where we decided, like, let's not invest in junk and crap. Let's invest in experiences.
Love it.
So whether or not that happens on Valentine's Day, find something that you both want to do. You want to take a day trip to a small town? How about the weekends around that? You just go, hey, this weekend is for us.
Yeah, baby.
And
And
it may not be like, something huge or fancy, but it's like, it's something you both want to do. Go spend some time alone together.
There you go.
And that's memories. You want to invest in memories.
In memories rather than stuff.
Yeah, because stuff die. Like, stuff gets lost. Sure. Things happen to it. But you can't, even if you don't have the photos anymore, you have the memories.
Yeah, but we have photos of everything now, so you'll have the photos.
You'll probably have the
They're
photos
in the cloud. Big Brother has the photos.
They're up there somewhere.
No, but you're totally right. The memories are, it sounds cheesy, they're priceless, right?
They really are.
So find a day, go to a winery or someplace, just get to the hill country with your sweetheart. All right, guys, this is more romance advice from Daniel and Chet.
Because we're the two people that you want to take advice from. I don't think
that needs to be. All right, but anyway, good luck finding some romance out of here. We're going to move along. I don't know where that went. So, Daniel, what you been up to?
Oh, what have I been up to? Well, I'm still in the RV, but To be honest, I think we're getting to a point where we're like, you know what?
No. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
Like, I hate to say it. Like, I'm not going to talk bad about my wife because there's nothing bad about it, but we're two different people.
Sure.
We are alike in a lot of ways.
Yep.
But the ways that we are different, like, I grew up more in the country and doing stuff and 4-H, stuff like that. So I could be out an hour from a major city and I'd be okay.
Yeah.
And I'd figure out ways to make it work if it's like, hey, there's not a Target nearby. There's not a mall or a grocery store. We'll figure that out. But my wife is a little bit more like, I got to be close to some of these things. And so
she can be a comfortable distance from the city, but like if it's going to take 45 minutes to get a Starbucks.
After you get to that 30-minute point, it's like, okay, we need to talk. And so we have been looking more recently at land.
Okay.
You know, my dream of building out in the country.
Yeah.
Got to make it happen, man. But as I'm looking at land, I see she's looking at houses. And they're in subdivisions.
Oh, no.
And, so that's kind of where we're at right now.
Just to come full circle.
Once you get into that habit of like, all right, got to check today on the app, on Realtor, what's available, and something pops up, it's like, oh my gosh, look what's available. Hey.
Oh, no. Hey. You know, but like, I say this, just because you're focused on one goal, goals can change.
True.
Right? And you move into an RV. So y'all's unspoken rule, or maybe it was spoken, was how many years in the RV?
It was like at least 2 years.
2 years, you know, because you bought the RV, you got to recoup that, wait for the right opportunity. Wait for the right opportunity. Well, hey, so anyway, like, is that going to happen? Are y'all done? Is it going to happen?
I don't know.
Can you look her and say, listen, honey, focus on the goal. The goal is land.
Well, I'm coming to find out it was a little bit more my goal.
Oh, okay.
So we've been in the RV now 7 months, and now for people that don't know, we sold our house. Yeah, we got an RV, but it is not just a normal RV. It is a fifth wheel, and it's
big.
We've had people come out and they're like, "This is nicer than my house." It's definitely not as big. It's small. It's like living in a very tiny New York City apartment, right?
Okay, yeah, with your 3 girls.
We do have 3 daughters, and people are thinking it's crazy, but hey, it's working.
Hey, it's working.
We're saving money. It's working. We're in a nice place. I like it. I could do this for a while. I've got 4 other women living with me, and they're all ganging up on me right now.
Oh no! So Jordan has support.
She's got backup.
The Democratic vote is you're way out, man, dude.
I'm outwomaned.
Yeah, that's
so I'm at a point where I'm just like, I might need to keep the peace and just bite the bullets.
Oh man!
But here's the thing: like once my girls are done with school, I mean they're about to go to high school. 2 of them are going to go to high school.
Sure.
Maybe we can look at it again. You know, if we get a house and it's like an investment opportunity.
Okay.
Because today's the best time to
buy a house. Hey, what am I doing? I mean, the prices have dropped. Interest rates have gone up, but the prices have dropped, and things are sitting, so you might get a better deal. I mean, you're certainly going to pay less for a house than you would have a year ago. So, I'm just saying. I mean, man, no judgment. Like, you gave it a go. You were braver than most of us would have been just giving it a shot.
I tried.
And so, well, no, you didn't just try. You did it. You did it.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, and so, like... Don't beat yourself up on like, wow, there was a fail here. But like, because, man, what did you learn about yourself? A ton about your spouse and your kids and all that stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, hey, good on you for even living there. Not to say that you're ready to move out, but whatever y'all do, you make the right decision for your family. Like, man.
Yeah.
Neither Alex nor I would have done this. Alex might have. He's a young man.
He's shaking his head. He's like, nope,
no,
wouldn't have done it.
Not. All right. Okay.
Oh, man. Well, that's what's up with me. How about you?
Okay, so I'm trying to think back of my month of January. Highlight Mexico. Went to Mexico.
Man. Yeah, you did.
So I stinking love Mexico. Not just because it's like a place you go and stay at an all-inclusive resort and like, food and drinks are great. But like just that it's so close. It's a different country. They speak a different language. I feel like just going there and being around, and we went to Cancun, but we went kind of outside the city. Then we spent a day on Isla Mujeres just exploring, rented a golf cart and just ran around the island. Like some of the things you think you forgot about Spanish suddenly go, oh, yeah, I do know how to conjugate that verb. You know, like, I feel like I could be fluent. Just give me a shot. I need to move to Mexico for a month. But, like, I love Mexico. It took 2 hours to get there, nonstop flight. You just,
Crazy.
like, it's our sister country. You know, there's a brethren. We are simpatico. I stinking love it. So, it was a good kind of recharge for Laura and I. We're celebrating her 40th.
You needed that.
I needed it for sure. It was busy. It was a busy holiday season. So that was the big thing. I mean, other big things in our life, like the Dallas Cowboys are in the playoffs and they won one. We're recording this before we know if they're still in the playoffs. So by the time y'all hear this, it might be way gone. Or we're in the Super Bowl, baby. It's
right,
one or the other. But, man, it's just felt good to finally watch them in the playoffs. Gosh, Texas Bowl games were awful. Went to the,
So depressing.
So football season, we're finally coming to the end of it. And, like, it had its highs and lows. Nothing will make you as high on the mountaintops and as low in the valleys as football, dude.
That's so true.
It's like, and then now we wait.
In a matter of like an hour or two, you could either be like so ecstatic and excited, and this is going to be an amazing week, or you might be like, don't talk to me.
Don't talk. Exactly. Exactly. So it's sad to watch football season go. I hope, my future self, I'm going to manifest it. My future self, I don't believe in all that garbage, but like my future self sees the Cowboys at the Super Bowl party.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
They're there.
Okay. So let's talk about what's been going on in Texas. This is Meanwhile in Texas.
While you've been listening to this podcast, lots of stuff's been going on in the Lone Star State. This is Meanwhile in Texas.
All right. Give me your story, Daniel.
Okay, so I don't know if you saw this, but recently something happened at a zoo that we visited. Was it
A zoo we visited?
Dallas Zoo.
Okay. We visited the Fort Worth Zoo.
We visited the Fort Worth Zoo.
I've never been to the Dallas Zoo.
I went to the Dallas. I used to live in the area.
We talked about this.
Okay, so I say we visited. I'm kind of
yeah, me.
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 So yeah,
we.
Well, it's an awesome zoo.
I've heard it's great.
They've redone a lot of stuff there. It's really cool. But apparently, a leopard got out.
Ooh, what?
And that you don't hear about these things that
like
often.
Escaped?
Yes, but okay, it was called a clouded leopard. So they said it's not huge. It's a smaller. It's like bigger than a cat, like a normal cat.
Okay,
but it's not like a lion.
This isn't a mountain lion.
No. Dude, you
that
could look
thing's
up
gonna
pictures of it. Like you can
disappear.
kind of see in this right here about. Like,
it's pretty.
It's very pretty. It looks like a leopard.
This
but
thing's going to
smaller.
disappear.
Well, they've already found it.
Oh,
everything's cool now.
Okay, all right,
But
all right.
They are able to see through cameras and stuff, and also like how it got out. It looks like somebody actually cut like a cage open.
Oh no,
Which is crazy. I don't know why somebody would do that, but it got out, but they were able to use drones and search for it. And like, I think within a day or so, they were able to find it. It didn't get that far away. Okay. And they know that this kind of cat loves to climb trees. So it just had a little field trip. It was like, which is way better. Cause I think that either that same zoo or another zoo, like back in the early 2000s, had a gorilla that escaped. It hopped a wall, and it was like a 340-pound gorilla.
A gorilla?
And it actually hurt people, and they had to put it down. So anytime an animal gets out at a zoo, there's the fear, not only of somebody getting hurt, but it's like, dang it, we might have to put this thing down.
I know. That's a sad thing.
And it's just, sometimes zoos can be sad in that way because it's just like you want these animals to be able to have like a free life. And be out where they are. But people have to realize some of these animals have only been in captivity, or maybe they had issues.
Sure.
And it's like, hey, we're just providing a place not only for people to look at them, but to keep them safe.
Yes.
Because we can't let them go out into the wild. They'll die.
Right.
And you mix that with the fact that something got out. It's like, we don't want to have to hurt it because we're scared it could hurt somebody else.
Yeah. I remember that tiger that got out a while back. They had to put that down. So, man, I'm glad no one got hurt.
No one got hurt.
I'm amazed they found it. I'm amazed they found it.
So crazy. I thought for sure, I was like, this thing is going to disappear out into the wild.
Yeah.
Which kind of would have been cool if it did.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's like
Madagascar. You're basically the movie plot of Madagascar.
Just keep thinking like, I know it's not a natural animal for the area by any means, but what if we had leopards in Texas?
Hey, we did.
A long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. There's pictures in where my parents live in Goldthwaite of people killing full-on mountain lion-sized leopards.
What the heck? Why would people do that, you know?
Hey, back in the day, they thought, there's plenty everywhere.
Exactly. Nah.
Or, you were literally like, that was a risk of getting attacked by one was a lot more real than it is now. And
true.
Defend the family. So my story, this comes out of Houston, also about wild animals.
Ooh.
But evidently, the coyotes are loose in the Bayou City, my friend. So
the Bayou City,
Houston, and the suburbs, but even in like the dense urban areas, coyotes are showing up everywhere now.
Oh, man.
So people are catching them on there. And they may have always been there. We just have Ring doorbells now that'll
That's so true.
So sometimes it's better not to know what's out there. But there's been a whole bunch of coyotes showing up in urban areas. People are seeing them on their security cameras. Texas Parks and Wildlife has said, basically there's been a whole rash of them. But they think this is the den, the little pups leaving their den and kind of like not knowing where to go.
Yeah.
And so they're roaming around. But they have some tips because this is a thing in Houston, more coyotes, which we saw one right behind our house like just the other day. Mm-hmm. And you're like, am I scared? It's a wild dog. But coyotes,
they're not wolves.
They're not wolves.
No.
Thank you.
They're wild,
but they're super skittish.
Very skittish.
Like coyotes don't want to be around you at all. They're going to take off.
They're kind of like raccoons if you think about it. Like they're just meh.
Well, here's some tips for keeping them out of your yard because they sort of are like raccoons, aka trash pandas. So here we go. This is from Texas Parks and Wildlife. Don't feed your coyotes, obviously.
Wow, I hadn't thought of that.
But this is a secondary issue. You might be feeding them, you don't know it if you have a compost pile that's not locked up.
Great point.
So keep your compost locked up. Don't feed feral cats because by feeding feral cats, you're feeding the coyotes who love your fat feral cats that you think are so cute in your backyard. You're just fattening them for the slaughter when the coyote comes to town. All right? Don't feed birds on the ground. Feed them in, because coyotes are scavengers, so they'll eat bird seed, they'll eat fruit, they'll eat all kinds of stuff.
So throw the seed up in the air. Birds, you got to eat it in the air.
Keep a feeder.
Okay.
Yeah. Like minimize clusters of shrubs and stuff like that because that attracts rats and small mammals and therefore coyotes. And if you see one, use noise making or scare them away. Just scare them away. Coyotes aren't going to attack you.
No, they will not.
Yeah.
I know we got a lot of people obviously moving from out of state who are not used to these kind of things.
Yep.
So that's great advice,
Yeah.
Because I know like we grew up with coyotes around us and I would have always known just based on my past and like what people have taught me, like, yeah, if you see a coyote, like kind of leave it alone or just, yell and it'll go away.
Sure.
But yeah, some people move in here. They don't know that.
They're a little freaked out, which, I mean, I guess rightfully so. It's a wild dog.
A lot of people think wolf.
Yes.
A lot of people think wolf. It's not a wolf.
It's not a wolf.
No.
It is more like a doggy cat.
And you don't normally see them in a pack either. They're always alone.
They're more active at dawn, dusk, and overnight, so you wouldn't see one in the daytime necessarily.
Right.
But you know what? I grew up, I knew the coyotes were around. We had goats, and so we would lose goats. Mm-hmm. And you go out and look at them, and you'd find the carcass all chewed up by coyotes.
Right.
And so you'd always kind of knew they were around, but I didn't see too many of them because I wasn't out spotlighting at night.
Right.
And then, but now around Georgetown area, and it might just be because of the expanse and the, basically you're on the frontier between the rural and the urban, and they've always been here, and we're sort of encroaching into their territory. So the human-animal interactions are just going to get more frequent.
Well, we also have an overpopulation of deer around here too.
Oh, do we ever? Gosh,
I'm sure they love that.
Yeah, lots of deer get hit on the side of the road. Man, that's a buffet for a coyote.
Yeah.
And the buzzards. All right. So watch out for wild animals out there, folks. They're everywhere. All right, let's move in. Texas Music Minute. So this is where we bring you guys a song by a Texas artist. Could be new, usually new, but today we're going old.
Ooh.
We're going old school. All right, I don't know if you heard, the great Bob Dylan wrote a book.
Who's Bob Dylan?
Yeah, right.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, not a Texan. Bob Dylan, not a Texan. But that was like, okay, well, where was Bob Dylan born? I would have failed this on Jeopardy. Do you know?
Oh, not a clue.
I think I would have thought he was like Northeast. He's from Duluth, Minnesota.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Not a Texan.
That's where I get my underwear.
That's right. That's right.
Minnesota.
So, The Philosophy of Modern Song is the name of his book.
Okay.
And in it, he talks about his favorite songs and songwriters, and not surprisingly, he gives credit to a lot of Texans. So he shows lots of love for Willie Nelson, and you would think, right, folk vein. Lots of love for Marty Robbins in the song El Paso.
Yep.
And then another one that he just gushes about, Townes Van Zandt. Townes Van Zandt. So Townes Van Zandt is one of these people that I feel like if you meet a true Texas music lover, they love Townes Van Zandt. But it's sort of like you have to discover, either your dad listened to Townes Van Zandt and he passed that down, or you just had to independently discover him somehow. But Townes Van Zandt is like, I mean, he was the real deal. Folk singer, considered a legend. And here's one of the things, I'll read verbatim, things that Bob, this is from Texas Monthly, quoting Bob's book. Bob clearly appreciates Townes Van Zandt, observing that one way to measure a songwriter is to look at the singers who sing their songs. Townes Van Zandt has been covered by the best, from Neil Young to Garth Brooks and others. And another measure, Dylan adds, is whether a person's songs are still performed. And Townes are, he writes, every night in small clubs, in lonely bedrooms, and wherever the brokenhearted watch, the shadows grow.
Wow.
That's what Bob's, commentary on Townes. And I looked at the people who've covered Townes Van Zandt. It's crazy. Bob Dylan, Willie Nelson, Lyle Lovett, Merle Haggard, Norah Jones, Counting Crows, Robert Earl Keen, Guy Clark, Wade Bowen, Pat Green, Natalie Maines. I mean, all these people who, the list is infinite. Jason Isbell, all these people who appreciate songwriting.
Yeah.
They love Townes Van Zandt. And so I thought, let's listen to some Townes Van Zandt. For people like you maybe who don't know much, or people listening. So Townes was born in Fort Worth in 1944. Oh, his most famous song he wrote was Poncho and Lefty.
Oh, yeah.
So he wrote Poncho and Lefty. And in 1971, he wrote this song, To Live Is to Fly. And there's a lot of great Townes Van Zandt songs. They do get kind of sad. I'm like, the people on the podcast. This one, while still kind of melancholy, is a little bit more upbeat maybe. So here we go. To Live Is to Fly from 1971 by Townes Van Zandt.
I won't say I love you, babe. Won't say I need you, babe. But I'm gonna get you, babe, and I will not do you wrong. Living's mostly wasting time, and I waste my share of mine. But it never feels too good, so let's don't take too long. Well, you're soft as glass, and I'm a gentle man. And we got the sky to talk about and the world to lie upon. The days up and down they come, like rain on a conga drum. Forget most, remember some, but don't turn none away. Everything is not enough, and nothing is too much to bear. And where you've been is good and gone, all you keep's the getting there. Well, to live's to fly, all low and high. So shake the dust off of your wings and the sleep out of your eyes.
All right.
That sounded like a Bob Dylan song.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you can see why they respect each other so much.
Absolutely.
But I hear a lot of modern guys when I listen to Townes Van Zandt. Like the Avett Brothers are one of my favorite bands. Like they sing Townes Van Zandt songs.
They could. It kind of reminded me of a Chris Stapleton song.
Stapleton. I guarantee you Townes Van Zandt's one of Stapleton's favorite.
I feel a little ignorant for not knowing his music if, so many of these people have been.
Well, I think he's one of those, like I said, like your dad had to listen to him, or maybe you had a friend, or maybe you became a sad songwriter.
True.
And then you discovered him independently on something. So he's a bit of he's an unsung hero of the whole singer-songwriter country music movement. There's some great videos of him singing songs like in the 70s and people's kitchens and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. He feels like the outlaw country movement, but he wasn't kind of like as loud and rowdy.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Cool.
Anyway, Townes Van Zandt, ladies and gentlemen, if he's good enough for Bob Dylan, he's good enough for me. I love Bob Dylan too. All right, moving on. Questions from the back seat.
Are we there yet?
Hey, can you pass me the snacks?
When are we gonna stop? I gotta go.
All right, here's one. It was funny we got this question because this was actually something I thought about. It says, can you have a podcast contest where the winner gets to do a podcast with you?
Hey.
I mean, so I was thinking, like, what if we added a new segment into Talkin Texas where it was like, let's talk to a Texan. And we pull them up on Zoom or something or other.
Yeah.
Or they could sit on the couch with us.
I mean, we do have a whole couch.
We had a
right
whole stinking
here.
couch.
Just saying.
And another mic stand. And so, I mean, it's worth thinking of.
Why not?
You guys, if y'all want a podcast contest where you would either come to Georgetown or, like, through communications, we'll pull you in, be part of the podcast. We ask some favorite Tex barbecue. Like we could have some rapid fire questions.
Oh, yeah.
And then some that'll make it uncomfortable so they wish they never did it.
Exactly. I mean, you'd have to, right?
Yeah. Right. Okay, here's one. It was kind of a question, but also we got this question from a bunch of people. We went recently, a couple years ago, filmed a Palacios episode, right? Making Palacios and Palacios, all right? So we went to Palacios, which is down on the coast, and we stayed in a really old hotel called the Luther Hotel. Very historic. Lots of famous people have stayed there. It's a old hotel, hasn't really been updated, so you feel like you're stepping back in time. I stayed in a room on the top floor that I'm almost positive was haunted, but Rita Hayworth had stayed there. And so I was like, that's pretty cool. So because there was a huge army base in Palacios, and so entertainers would come to perform or entertain our GIs as they were on base. Rita Hayworth was one of them. There were a few others, maybe Bob Hope. There was a bunch of famous ones over the years.
Yeah.
So they all stayed in the Luther because it was the nice place in town. So the owner of the Luther died. The hotel has been in like declining health for a long time. And now there's people who want it torn down.
No.
And they're already basically like recently they had to get a restraining order to keep it from being torn down. So there's a big movement now to save the Luther Hotel. And this comes from Carmen Schuster. She says, the Luther Hotel, y'all came down for a story. It is in desperate need. I don't know if you could give support or a kind of word to the town so many are trying to save. It's a very important piece of our history. Thank you. So, Carmen, we're going to do some other stuff, but right now, this is throwing support to the Luther Hotel. I hope we can figure out a way to save it. The problem is there's hardly any economic benefit to saving it, so we need essentially, I think they need, or we, whatever, people who care about historic structures, donations, basically grants, funding that can keep this thing alive and not fall down on its own.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful hotel. It's right there on the waterfront. Historic, obviously. It's been trying to be an economical hotel for a while, and that hasn't worked. So now we're going to have to turn to basically the nonprofit world, and can we find a way to keep that open in that regard?
Right.
But once it's torn down, it's lost forever.
Yeah.
Right? So
Absolutely.
if the Luther is torn down and we decide in 5 years, 20 years, 30 years that was a bad idea, there's no rewinding the clock. So we need to find a way to save it now. Because like with so many historic structures we've lost, decades later you go, why is that thing ever torn down? Mm-hmm. And whatever it was about money. If we can find the money to save it now, our future selves will thank us. So we got to save the Luther. Save the Luther.
Hashtag save the Luther.
Hashtag save the Luther. All right, here's another question from Matthew Nairling. What are your favorite ghost towns in Texas? Do you have a favorite ghost town?
Gosh, favorite ghost towns in Texas. I feel like every small town says that they've got a haunted hotel or a haunted room somewhere,
Sure,
so,
yeah.
You could go a lot of places, but the Magnolia.
Okay, you're thinking of ghost destinations. I think the question is like ghost
actual
towns.
town.
Like towns that no one lives there anymore.
Okay, well then Terlingua.
Okay,
was like an amazing ghost town because you go out there, not only do they say it's a ghost town, but you feel like, wow, this used to be something and now it's not.
Yep. Truly.
I love going out there and you can see, I mean, I guess it's okay to talk about now, but when the Spanish flu hit, obviously so many people died.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, out there. And so you still see the graves. They're over 100 years old.
They've all got the same year on them.
Same year.
Yeah.
And that's how you know it's probably Spanish flu. Was it 1909-ish?
Yeah.
But yeah, and you can walk around and look at them. I'm one of those weird people that likes to look at graves when they're old.
Sure.
Because it's just, it's fascinating, and it's kind of a way to respect, I think, the people to just, walk around, look at the graves.
Save that thought. I've got another thing later about that.
Oh, really? Okay.
So on my list, best ghost towns, I was thinking Terlingua.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Bluffton? It's at the bottom of Lake Buchanan now.
Yeah, it used to be a city.
It used to be a city, and when they created Lake Buchanan, it flooded.
I wanted to do a Daytripper episode there.
Yeah. We need to. Maybe we should do that this next season.
We should.
When the water is low enough, you get to see the old foundations of the city and the old cemetery. That basically, if the lake is full, it's underwater. But only when the water is low enough does the city emerge again.
You can see the grave still, though, too.
Oh, no, it's creepy. It's real creepy.
Yeah.
We went once and walked the streets of Bluffton, and it's wild. There's little concrete things from like old cotton mills or gins and stuff like that. You can kind of tell where there were some homes or a general store. It's awesome.
It's really
And now it's at the bottom of a lake. Wild. All right, guys, just a reminder, please leave us questions. We get lots of comments and feedback, but we need more questions from y'all. So leave a question in the comments of the YouTube video or fire us an email, podcast@thedaytripper.com. We love that stuff. All right. And you might hear it here on the podcast itself. All right. So here we go to the part of people who just need to get something off their chest.
Hey, Daytripper, I got a bone to pick with you. Oh my goodness, it's the Daytripper. We love your show.
All right. Fan rants and musings. This first one comes from someone called Vine Secretary. They're on YouTube. I don't think that's their real name.
Okay.
But this is basically what we were just talking about. So I've got a cool cemetery for y'all. Hodges Cemetery in the middle of the Chapel Hill apartment complex in Temple. They built apartment complexes around it. We need to Google this.
Okay.
It's a neat little historic cemetery right across from the parking lot. I love telling folks that park by the cemetery and come on in to my house. So
That's great.
Vine Secretary, this is what brings up. So old cemeteries, there's two camps of this. One is, no, that's creepy. I'm not going in there. Someone's going to reach up from the grave and pull me down and whatever, right? And then there's the other one that love old cemeteries.
Oh, yeah.
Walk around, pay your respects, find the stories, and they're not scared one iota to walk into an old cemetery with the creeping swinging fence and all that. I think I know. What camp are you?
I'm definitely in the one where go explore.
Go explore. They're dead. They don't care.
I used to do. So we used to go to a church that was right next to an extremely old cemetery, and I was actually at a daycare when I was a little kid. We would take crayons and paper, and we would go and do like a crayon rub on some of these. It's like, oh, look, this person passed away in 1880 or 1890 something, and
That's
you're like,
cool.
oh, that's amazing,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think of it as like, it's not scary. I don't feel like ghosts are real.
Yeah.
And so that may be just me, but I just look at it and I'm fascinated. I'm just fascinated at how old something is, because I look at that the same way that you would look at like an old building. Like, wow, it's still standing. It's like, wow, this grave is still here. This person has passed away that long ago. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just me.
We're all going to end up there someday, right? And
Absolutely.
so, like, it's a way to sort of pay your respects to the generations that forged the roads that you're traveling on.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I'm not scared of old cemeteries. Now, when I was a kid, terrified of them. I think it all went back to the Walt Disney Christmas Carol, where Ebenezer Scrooge falls into the open grave, and he goes, "This is you, Ebenezer." So I thought that at some point I was going to fall in an open grave, and no one would find me, and I'd be scratching my way out. But
oh my gosh,
obviously that's past. So I'm good with it now, and like as you get older, you put more of your relatives' bodies in cemeteries, and so you just gain more perspective. Right,
yeah, you do.
It's part of it.
I would say there's still like an etiquette though. Like you don't walk on the grave.
No.
You still walk around.
Right.
You respect the people that are there, even though they're dead.
Agreed. Totally agree.
But yeah, I think it's kind of cool.
It is. And there's a big movement to save old cemeteries because a lot of times if they're old, they don't have a staff. So the weeds grow, the tombstones fall over, and no one puts them back up. So there's big groups of historic preservationists that spend all their time in cemeteries. That's I don't know if I my time there,
but yeah, there's actually people that'll go out and clean the headstones too, and I'm like, that's cool, because who's going to do? The family of some of these people they're not there anymore.
Yeah, right.
Like all the family could be gone.
Right.
So it's cool to see somebody go out there and be like, just as a form of respect and to make everything look nice, I'm just going to clean up this headstone.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that's pretty
cool.
Pretty cool.
Altruistic. All right, we have to have a bad one here.
Oh,
and as you know, our sponsor is Don Hewlett Chevrolet. So I'm going to take the approach that any press is good press with regard to Don Hewlett. Okay. So the fact that we said their name, Don Hewlett, you win. But this is some guy, Hirsch Holderman. Subject, same guy as the Don Hewlett car commercials. I just figured out you were the same irritating guy on the Don Hewlett commercials. I will now stop watching your YouTube channel, just like I would never buy anything from Don Hewlett because you are irritating.
Because you're irritating. All right.
Hey, okay. It's funny. He liked the YouTube channel till he found out I'm the guy on the Don Hewlett commercials.
All right,
Hirsch. There's other channels you could go and watch.
Sure.
I like having bad ones. And then also, just to remind everybody, like, people say anything they want on the internet, and that's not often the nice thing to do, right? Like, and so if someone says something mean about you on the internet, just slough it off, okay?
Seriously.
People have issues. They work through them in the open on the internet comments. It's whatever.
And please, if you're a parent, teach this to your children as well. Like, don't pay attention to the comments people say.
Exactly.
Like, if you really feel like you have to read them and move on. Don't
read them if they're going to make you mad.
No.
All right. Thanks, Hirsch. Hopefully we'll see you back. It would be awesome if you listen to this podcast again, just to get mad at me for mentioning that. All right. Next one. This is a good one. From Larry Jesse Zimmerly. This came through Instagram. Hey, Chet and team, just wanted to stop by, say thank you for always being positive, uplifting personality to watch. Longtime fan here. My mom and dad were also big fans of yours, and after they both passed away a few years ago, I kept up watching your adventures, and it's definitely brought motivation to adventure my way. Thanks for that. Thanks for being such a positive force in the world, filled with such beep sometimes. It's not that bad of a word, but still, there might be kids watching. And so thanks, Larry. Hey,
really cool.
Love it that there's that maybe you feel like you're watching something with your mom and dad. We've gotten that now that we've been on 13 years, right?
It's hard to believe.
Generations have watched, generations have passed that have watched it, and so it's cool. So thank you for the encouragement that in a world filled with such, like you say, it's good to use the internet to spread a little love, right? So thank you for that. All right, guys, that wraps up our podcast. Thank you all for listening to the Daytripper Podcast. Remember, the registration for the LCRA summer camps is open now. They're going to be epic. They run from mid-June all the way to early August. Great thing to do to put your kids in. They even have transportation to some of them, so you don't have to drive all the way to the camp. So they're going to be running buses from primary spots, so it should be easy for you to get your kid there. They're going to have a blast out in nature, connecting with the earth. And that's awesome. What a way to spend the summer. The real Earth, not the Minecraft Earth. All right. And so, you guys, LCRA.org, you can find out more about the summer camps. Mark your calendars. April 1st is another Savor the Outdoors event. And thanks to the LCRA. Thank you to listening. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. We really, really appreciate it. And it's time to say adios till next month.
Hey, y'all love people and spread positivity.
There you go. And, thank you to Alex Fort over here at the Mix Master table.
Thanks.
And from me and the rest of the Daytripper team. Vaya con Dios, amigos.